What's up, people? Perry here with a tutorial on the rule of thirds. Well, it's not really a rule, it's more like a suggestion. Why don't we just get on with it? What we have here is a group of boxes lined up in a grid 3 by 3. You may recognize it. If you have a digital camera of any sort, there is usually an option to turn on grid lines for your view screen. When you do that, this is what will pop up. It's a pretty useful tool when figuring out a good design for your build, but it's mainly used when composing a scene or a photo. Now, before I go on, those of you who have studied this technique, this may not be exactly how it's described in the textbook, but it is how I understand it, and hopefully this will help you. So the idea behind this grid is to line up whatever you want to be the focal point of the scene along these vertical yellow lines. And even better if you can center it on these red dots right here. So in this example, we want our focal point to be this structure. By lining up our grid with our structure, like so, we are able to compose a scene with a bit of interest. Why, you may ask? Well, if you're going by the book, it says that your eye naturally focuses on these points in red instead of focusing on the center. And by putting things of importance in these areas, it gives the eye an easier time to understand the scene. But here's what I think, and it's really been the basis for everything that I put into design. It's all about what I call eye travel. So instead, think of it like this. By using the fact that your eye naturally focuses on these particular areas, it creates the opportunity for the eye to travel from one side to the other. Very important, especially if you want the viewer to experience all the details of your scene. So we aid that by putting something of importance there. And in our case, it will be this structure. But because it's off-centered, your eye will naturally want to move towards the middle to balance it, much like your natural ability to balance while walking. So when we do that, your eye will move around to experience the rest of the scene, and this makes things much easier for your brain to find and enjoy everything that goes on in it. So instead of using it to frame a photo, let's try applying it to a build. So, using the basic principles of design, of which I talk about in my first Surviving Creatively episode, I'll leave a link down below in the description for those of you who haven't seen it. We use size and symmetry and rhythm to create something like this. So now that we have the basics, let's try and use the rule of thirds to give it a little something extra. First, we set up our grids, like so. Next, we identify where we want our focal point to be. For us, it will be where that little entranceway is. Then we want to shift the focal point to align with one of our vertical yellow lines. Now, it doesn't matter which one, but for our sake, we'll align it with the right side. Now we have an empty space to the left. This is our opportunity to add in more detail. It doesn't really matter what you do there, as long as you add something. But if you really want to, you could leave it empty. But since we have an open space, why not take advantage of it? So in the end, we come up with a little something like this. We started off with the basics, and by using a little advanced technique called the rule of thirds, we come up with an interesting design. And we've been able to do it while still organizing it in a fashion that is easy for the eye to follow. Going back to our basics, we use size to get your attention, symmetry, which focuses it, you can see that right here, and rhythm to keep your attention. That's represented by these fences that fill in the structure. And by using the rule of thirds, we are able to give the build some flow, kind of like this. An easy and predictable way for your eye to experience your work. And at the same time, we are able to add in more detail. The best thing about it is this allows you to develop more ideas and improve your creativity. So that's it, the rule of thirds. I thank you for watching. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. Also, leave your comments down below of what you think. And if you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Keeps you up to date on everything that goes on in it. So, that's it for me. Always remember, keep your head up, and I'll see you in the next one.